So it looks like the allegations against Sean Diddy Combs is far from over. As you know, he's already facing multiple civil lawsuits and possibly a grand jury indictment. Well, now former employees of Diddy are coming out against him with some damning claims in a new Daily Beast expose.
Here we go now.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. And if you enjoy content like this, come see me in person, live. We'll be here in New York City on June 21st. We'll be in Boston on June 27th. We'll be in Nashville on July 11th, and then Atlanta on July 12th. If you want a more explicit Kempire, where we don't have community guidelines and we don't have to, bleep out words and things like this when we talk about people like Diddy, get your tickets today. More information on the Kempire After Dark live tour will be available in the description. So as you know, we've been covering everything Diddy, the downfall of Diddy, we've been calling it. And these damning claims all started with the lawsuit from Cassie. Since then, we've seen video footage of the horrific things Diddy has done. He since then has issued an apology, but that has not stopped the allegations, including the recent Rolling Stone expose that they chronicled over the last 6 months, talking to former Diddy close associates, allegedly. Well, now the Daily Beast has their own expose where they're speaking to former employees. So this is what Radar Online is writing in regards to just a summation of that article, because it is quite long. We could sit here all day, but I know some of you just want to know the points, and you can go and look for yourself. We'll put a link in the description so that you can read the expose on your own, because you know what we do here. We always cite our sources. So they write this in the Radar Online article. They said former employees of hip-hop icon Sean Diddy Combs have come forward with disturbing allegations of alleged abusive behavior in the workplace. The revelations shed light on a toxic work environment and interpersonal violence accusations that have tarnished Combs' reputation. They said the events unfolded when multiple ex-staffers from Combs' lifestyle brand Sean John and Blue Flame, his now shuttered advertising agency, shared their harrowing experiences. They recounted instances of erratic behavior where Combs reportedly grabbed, berated, and threatened them. Sidebar, this is really not even hard to believe, especially if you watched Making of the Band, because, and I know a lot of us are watching some of the things that we've watched. We were just talking about this with Quiet on Set, about some of the things that we watched as kids, and we're like, why did we accept that? Looking back on that behavior, that was terrible. That was horrendous. That we should have not put up with that. If you look back on Making of the Band, you might feel the same way. So they said one female ex-employee detailed an alarming encounter where Combs forcibly grabbed her face during a disagreement. She recalled, "He puts one hand on both sides of my cheeks and says, 'Stick out your tongue,' and then he squeezes my face harder and yells at me." The former staffer expressed her shock and discomfort, prompting her to seek other job opportunities immediately. I actually want to just go to the Daily Beast article just to show you what exactly was said in this particular instance. So she says in the Daily Beast article, one female Sean John ex-employee shared a harrowing account about a time Combs grabbed her face following a disagreement about a creative decision. "He didn't like that I wasn't agreeing with him. He wasn't interested in hearing my point of view," the former employee recalled. Instead, Combs allegedly began to yell and compared himself to a renowned fashion designer. "When you speak to me, you should imagine that you're talking to Karl Lagerfeld," she recalled Combs telling her. "Anything I say, assume that it's coming from Karl Lagerfeld." At that point, I didn't have a response to that, and he reaches out and he grabs my face. He puts one hand on both sides of my cheek and says, "Stick out your tongue," and then he squeezes my face harder and yells at me to stick out my tongue. She recounted how Combs then told her he just wanted to see if her tongue was bleeding because she was clearly biting it. "I started looking for a job immediately after that moment. I just wasn't interested in being there to deal with that kind of treatment. You have to really idolize him and see him as an icon. I didn't. I was just there to do my job." So back to what they were reporting in regards to this article on Radar. They said a disturbing surveillance video released earlier this month showing Combs his ex-girlfriend Cassie in a hotel hallway further corroborated the accounts of the former employees. Following the release of the video, Combs issued an apology, as you know, taking responsibility for his actions. However, some insiders claim that the footage did not depict the full extent of the incident. Former employees also recounted instances where Combs displayed aggressive behavior towards them, creating a culture of fear in the workplace. One ex-employee mentioned how Combs would become confrontational, especially when challenged. Honestly, all you have to do is go back to the Making of the Band episodes. None of this is shocking. The intense work environment, and mind you, this was filmed. Can you imagine the things that he knew was wrong and he didn't film? They said the intense work environment at the company was likened to Game of Thrones, with employees feeling constantly on edge and wary of Combs' unpredictable behavior. An eyewitness told Rolling Stone in the shocking expose that we mentioned, published on Wednesday following a six-month investigation, that he was, quote, screaming at the top of his lungs during the incident at Howard University in the late 1980s. All the way back to then. Despite some conflicting accounts from former employees who had positive experience working with Combs, the overarching narrative points to a pattern of alleged abuse and intimidation. Here's the thing. And I saw this recently, there are some former artists and things like that. Puff was good to me. Please understand, there are moments where these types of individuals are okay and are good to you. Does not mean that they can't be good to you and terrible to someone else. And then I always ask myself, for those that are defending Diddy now, I was like, did you see the Cassie video? Because he may have been good to you, but you saw on video that he wasn't good to this woman, that he was capable of some of the things that he's being accused of. So sometimes it's okay, like, you know what, he was good to me, but he's still trash. So the latest lawsuit filed against Combs accused him of battery and SA from the 1990s. Two sources claim that the music mogul also abused the late Kim Porter, whom he dated on and off from 1994 to 2007. The former couple shared 3 children. Former Bad Boy rapper Mark Curry alleged, I remember Kim used to go through a lot of stuff. If you lived around them, you get to see the toxic relationship. I think every relationship he had that I experienced around him was like that. So it should be no surprise to anyone that there are more allegations. Again, when you think about the amount of businesses and arenas of work that Diddy was involved in, I'm not surprised that the people from Sean John are speaking out. I'm not surprised that we will probably hear from former artists like Mark Curry speaking out against Diddy. Look, no matter how you might feel about the situation, I find it hard to believe anyone that can defend Diddy, especially after you've seen that video. Like I said before, he may have not done anything to you, but that doesn't mean he isn't a terrible person. That doesn't mean he hasn't done terrible things to other people. Based off what we're seeing, there has been a pattern of behavior from the 1980s. That's over 40 years of bad behavior. And think about that bad behavior from back then, when he didn't have influence and power, to today, where clearly, and I said this before, he has some sort of power, and may that be because he has dirt on important people. This power extends beyond just the music industry or entertainment industry. The fact that Sean Diddy Combs has not seen prison, and after all these accusations, says to me he has a lot more influence and power in arenas that we don't even know about. Guys, as always, I want to know your reaction to these new allegations from former employees of Sean Diddy Combs. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. As always, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on breaking news when we go live or when we upload. Thanks for watching.
Here we go now.